Now, several things about this particular subject that we're going to about discuss. We only have partial information. We don't have everything to the nature as far as the rights. As far as we know, that yes, because of the time period, the estate that is handling the rights issue, that back in the day, the writers on this particular network at the BBC used to retain the rights of the programs that they used to create for the network. Now, as far as certain elements in between, it's he said, or he said, she said to that situation. But what we're going to focus, because if you notice carefully, this particular episode has been removed from most streaming. There are only several sites left. Most of the other sites have removed this particular episode. And what we're going to talk about is the removal of the very first episode of Doctor Who from streaming due to rights issue between the son of the original writer and the BBC. So if you haven't heard this story yet, some YouTubers have been discussing this very lightly. Most of them are YouTubers from the United Kingdom. You're probably going to hear a lot more of this in the coming days and weeks to come. But the story, The Unearthly Child, or as the other people call it, the Tribe of Gum, which some people have called it that as well, has been removed from most of the streaming. Will not be on BBC iPlayer. I would assume it will not be on Disney Plus, with them gaining the rights to Doctor Who in the US itself. But we're going to read a little bit into it from Screen Rant. The BBC has blocked from releasing the very first Doctor Who story by the son of the writer Anthony Coburn after a vicious dispute over the rights. Directed by Waris Hussein, An Unearthly Child was the show's debut story, including William Hartnell as the first Doctor, his granddaughter Susan, played by Carol Ann Ford, and school teachers Ian Chesterton, played by William Russell, and Barbara Wright, Jacqueline Hill. Traveled from the 1960s London to humans' earliest days, broadcast in November 23rd, 1963. The episode was overshadowed by the coverage of the U.S. President John F. Kennedy's assassination, but since it has been recognized for its pivotal place in pop culture. While the BBC iPlayer expanded Doctor Who's library, will feature nearly every story in time for the 60th anniversary, the BBC has revealed to the Radio Times that all 4 episodes comprising The Unearthly Child will be omitted due to disputes over the show's rights. The omission comes to the intervention of Coburn's son, Steph Anthony Coburn, who claimed on Twitter that the broadcasters offered to relicense the 4 episodes but didn't meet his demands. He stated the BBC offered a pittance to the relicensing, and despite the counter offer, it seems they have not reached an agreement. Coburn further broke down the issues regarding the rights, settling the blame on the BBC. Coburn's current dispute with the BBC is the latest conflict over his father's Doctor Who contributions. The writer's son previously challenged the corporation over claims his father named the TARDIS, now not the creation of the TARDIS, the name of actual what the TARDIS is, just to put in that perspective for anyone who hits that comment line, leading to the threats of legal dispute over the trademark in 2013 that never came to fruition. Outside his claims, Coburn has also voiced displeasure over reports surrounding Doctor Who Season 14's production, making several, they say bigoted, but basically he was making an opinion over the casting of Ncuti Gatwa and Jinx Monsoon on the Twitter while promoting far-right conspiracies. I love it how they throw the racism in there, and they throw they're calling them far-right. while because I don't know his opinions. I don't know, he's from overseas. Okay, I've never heard far right as far as the UK, but when it comes to someone having an opposing opinion, they're called far right or racist. While the ownership rights surrounding several classic elements of Doctor Who are in complex situations due to the nature of the TV production at the time, Colbert's actions stand out as an unfortunate for several reasons. Not only will An Unearthly Child's absence from the BBC's iPlayer library deprive viewers of a chance to revisit the show's origins in time for Doctor Who's 60th milestone, but it was set to receive a series of new accessible options, allowing more people to enjoy the story than before. As such, Colburn has prevented his father's legacy from reaching new audiences for the foreseeable future. See, I like how they try to throw this on him. To me, this is like a little bit of column A and column B when it comes to this situation. It's a right dispute. If he is the owner to the rights, he should be fairly compensated. All these people that have said, oh, we need compensation for the people that have created, the creators of these shows and TV series. And the thing about it is, there was a time in the BBC's history that if you wrote for the BBC, you own the product straight out. They had, anytime that they wanted to re-air it or you use it, basically they had to come to those writers. This is one of the reasons why we lost a lot of the Doctor Who episodes, because basically no one thought to relicense a lot of this stuff. And the BBC erased a lot of this stuff to reuse videotape for other shows. This is why we're still looking for several episodes of Doctor Who that's still lost to history. With the dedicated efforts made to preserve and recreate the lost classic Doctor Who stories, Colburn's decision will be a massive blow to viewers. Despite the initial rough reception, Colburn's father's work alongside with creators Verity Lambert and Sidney Newman, Hussein, and the cast has long been held as a pivotal piece of the franchise history. You know how I like that they put this, but meanwhile they buried the pivotal piece of history with the new episode they did in the current history, The Timeless Child. Think about that for a minute. While the potential discussions and dispute could change the situation, An Unearthly Child current distribution removal will dampen an excitement over the show's miles celebration. Now, currently online, you can still get this. Now, there are 3 places still available legally. Okay, legally on there. That is if you subscribe to BritBox, pay $2 per episode for Vudu, and Apple TV is the same thing for $2 an episode on there. It is no longer available on Apple. Amazon, you still have to apply to pay for BritBox. Most of the other sites are not. Knowing with the Disney Plus deal, they'll probably hold that off until further notice. They probably won't show that first episode. As far as fast channels, I have seen it on fast channels on Pluto TV. It was still available in their rotation. I don't think they have taken it out of the rotation on there, so do check it from time to time. At this current time, at the time of this recording, by the time you see this, they'll probably be back into a rotation. Last episode, and I just checked it, they're doing Time in the Ronnie, so they're getting toward the end of the Sylvester McCoy. Normally they revert back to earlier episodes. Either they'll go directly back to William Hartnell, or they may jump back to Tom Baker. But you tell me in the comments below. He had an opinion. Now, whether I agree or disagree with the opinions that he had on the new cast on there, you want to call it racist? That's your opinion to the nature. But you know, a lot of Doctor Who fans have questioned some of the actors that have played, and it's not only because of race. They may say, well, he doesn't look the type. He doesn't look. I mean, many years even prior to this situation, you know, they've had many times even in the classic era. You know, I remember when Tom Baker left and they brought in Peter Davison. People like saying, well, I don't know. You know, I know him from this other show, but I don't know if he could be Doctor Who. This happens in Doctor Who constantly. You know, in the last, you know, with Jodie Whittaker, she's a good actress, but because of the writing, she wasn't really Doctor Who. The way they wrote these episodes, it wasn't good. And for her to criticize the fans, that was even worse. That was even worse to the nature on there, you know. You know, the way Doctor Who has been going, I haven't watched any of Doctor Who since the first part of Jodie Whittaker. I walked away from Doctor Who. The only Doctor Who I watch now is classic Doctor Who. You know, once in a while I will watch David Tennant. I will watch some of the other series, but I refuse to watch anything above that, especially The Timeless Child. The Timeless Child has ruined The Unearthly Child. You know, this is them with the politics. And people have to understand, like I said, I don't know this guy, the son of the writer. Yeah, he could be racist, he could not be racist. But he had an opinion on the choices that they made to cast Doctor Who from a point of view of a family member of the people who originated the Doctor Who story. Now, he didn't like it. Fine. That's his opinion. My opinion, I don't know how this guy's going to do. You know, I don't like how they're throwing, because they're throwing this as politics. They're throwing it, we have to have representation. I have a story coming out very soon because a writer put out an article about representation of Hispanics in Hollywood. And the thing about it is, we as Hispanics, many of us Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, Spaniards, we have been represented in movies and TV series for many decades now. We don't need Hollywood. We don't need the BBC for representation. We have the content out there for many decades. Some of it is done good, some of it is done bad, and some of them has won Academy Awards. This whole representation bullshit is just people trying to push their politics into, and look what has happened to Hollywood. Look what has happened to the BBC. BBC has lost so much money. People have canceled their TV licenses over at the BBC. And there's nothing that the BBC can do about it. All they can do is cancel shows. You know, I remember when they did I, Claudius, one of the greatest BBC TV series to come over here to this country on PBS. If you've not seen the 1970s I, Claudius, it is a fantastic miniseries. It was so well done. So, once again, comment. Let me know your thoughts. Because, you know, for me, I'm done with Doctor Who as far as the newer stuff. The classics, it's going to take a lot for me to come back to watch the new Doctor Who if it's good. It's the same thing with, like, Star Trek Picard. People said season 3 of Star Trek Picard was really, really good. I haven't watched it. I refuse to watch it because basically, you know, they're dangling that little member berries over you. They're like, remember this? You know, we brought this out to you, and now why don't you watch the rest of the stuff that's really crappy and politically driven? You know, I don't need that in my life anymore. I don't, need this bullshit to this situation. And I know you out there, the viewers, don't need this shit either. There's great decades of content out there. You know, this month, Channel Awesome is doing is it the third or fourth season of The Twilight Zone, when they do a breakdown of each episode. I just watched The Printer's Devil, which happens to be I think one of the best episodes that Twilight Zone has come out, of the hour versions of there, and Burgess Meredith, fantastic as the devil, one of the best roles that he ever had on the Twilight Zone series that he's been on, 4 times on there. But this is some of the stuff that people are bringing out, and other shows that showing reaction to older movies and TV series on there. There are decades of this. I don't need the newer stuff right now. I can go back and watch some stuff that I've never watched before, because I guarantee I know there's stuff that I haven't watched, and I'll get a first-time watch on that. But who am I to say about these things but a madman with the show?
Thanks for watching. Before you go, please comment, like, and share this video. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of our channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have that ability help support this and many other channels. Especially now more than ever, since the passing of a new law in the United Kingdom that will diminish the reach of many channels and affect our advertisers. If you wish to help grow this channel by financial support, you have 2 ways. There are 2 links in the description below. The first will send you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will send you to our gear store where you can purchase t-shirt, mugs, and other specialty items. Any additional discounts will be listed on the main page. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.